Okay, chapter 22. When she was sure Miranda had gone, Echo tried the door, but it was firmly locked, no matter how hard she pushed and pulled. She slammed both fists against it in frustration. It had all been a huge mistake to trust Miranda. You know, I thought it was a huge mistake to trust Miranda. I thought she was up to no good. Weird. Anyway, old Gus had tricked her too. She's been tricked by a lot of people. She's got to be a bit more savvy. She should have known by now that the other clans weren't honest sky pirates like Lil and the Black Sky Wolves. They didn't care about fighting for good, they just cared about themselves. Echo shook her head. She should have found another way back to the Scarlet Margaret, although it was a pretty good idea at the time. Her mother would have known what to do to get Horace back. A thought suddenly hit her like a thunderbolt. No wonder she hadn't had a message from Lil. Miranda hadn't sent the postal pigeon. See? Can't trust her. She had lied about the whole thing, so now Echo was stuck here with a crazy woman and Lil had no idea where she was. She could feel a sob building in her chest, but she fought it back down and scrubbed her eyes furiously with her shirt sleeve. Oh, that's it. See, when you get emotions, you just push them down, just avoid them at all costs. She wouldn't let Miranda make her cry. She paced over to the bed and looked out of the porthole. They were leaving the pink haze of the Mallow marshes behind now, but up ahead she could make out brownish mountains looming on the horizon. She leaned her head against the window, the cool glass against her brow, and clenched her fists. Some sky pirate she was. Lil would never have gotten herself into this mess. Why had Echo ever thought that Miranda was going to help her? They flew for hour after hour, and the next time Echo peered out of the porthole, the brown mountains had become a vast reddish desert. Acres of rust-colored dust spread out before her, studded here and there with wild thorny trees and strange rocks formations that arched into the air like giant rib cages. The land seemed to have been rippled and folded in on itself like a huge scarlet tablecloth that had been flung into the air, and as they flew onwards, Echo saw the terrain was pocked with the craters of extinct volcanoes. Do we remember what the word for a live volcano is? Not an extinct one. It is an active volcano. We are in the Dragonlands, she thought with a shiver. And then when it is almost dusk and her belly was growling with hunger, she saw them, Mount Val and Mount Enoch. The two volcanoes marking the ends of the vast Tarracona Canyon, and the River Val weaving through its center like a silver snake. Nearly there, Gilbert, she said, turning to stroke the little lizard's chin. I wonder what we're going to find. There was a tap at the window pane, and Echo spun around, half in panic, half expecting to see Miranda's furious face looming over her. But what she saw made her heart soar with hope. It was her own postal pigeon, flying alongside the ship and trying in vain to get in through the porthole. A message. It had to be from Lil. She must have found Echo's postal pigeon in her cabin on the Scarlet Margaret and known it would be able to find her by homing in on her hairpin. And look, there's a picture of her homing postal pigeon flying alongside the porthole, which is the window on the side of her flying ship. Echo gripped the porthole with both hands and rattled it, but it was no use. It didn't open at all. She cast round the room looking for something to break the glass, but there was nothing that could help her. Gilbert ran down her leg and nudged her boot. Of course. She grabbed Stinger from its scabbard and tried to prise the frame away, but the window was sturdy and ridiculously strong. Echo flung the sword down in frustration. Oh, how can I let it in? She wailed. Gilbert leaped onto the wall and peered out of the porthole, a perplexed expression on his scaly face. Outside, the mechanical pigeon continued to keep pace with the airship, periodically diving towards the window despite being tossed this way and that way by the wind. But however much Echo struggled with it, the window stayed firmly shut. As the minutes passed, the little bird began to lose height. Echo watched in dismay as it was buffeted around until finally it spiraled downwards to the ground and disappeared from view. No! Echo pressed her nose to the porthole, but it was no matter how hard she looked, the postal pigeon was gone. It'll come back. She slammed her fist against the glass before flopping back onto her bunk, letting the tears of sadness and frustration toll down her cheeks. How long could a postal pigeon fly? And what would happen when its clockwork finally wound down? Would it just drop on the ground, smashing into pieces, never to be found again? Echo squeezed her eyes shut and let her tears flow. Perhaps it will just return to sender, she mumbled eventually. Gilbert gave her an encouraging nudge on the shoulder with his snout. I know, Gilbert. We'll find a way to get Horace back somehow. I won't let anything bad happen to him. Echo lay back on the bunk as Gilbert ran up to the porthole to peer out again, but even she had to admit that she had no idea how she was going to get out of the mess that she'd made. Gilbert gave a sudden chirrup as if to say, "Look." "What is it?" she said. The little lizard had his front feet up on the rim of the porthole and was peering out intently. Echo got to her feet, but there was a bang and the ship rocked, sending her crashing backwards onto the floor. We will find out what is happening next time. Good night, Papa. I love you.